Well, we're here tonight to review and for me to learn a little bit more about The Bachelor tonight. And I've got the Demon Deacon Digest resident expert on The Bachelor. It's one Miss Courtney Clawson, of course, the daughter of Wake Forest football coach Dave Clawson. Courtney, welcome to this special edition, I guess, of More with Less, as we're going to break down The Bachelor with Matt James. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Les. I'm honored to be here and ready to break this down.
Yeah, we're just going to kind of chat about, and I told you last night when we first started talking, I've never watched the show before. So all this is new to me. So, and I have a feeling, based upon what I've seen on Twitter, there are other Wake Forest fans who maybe have never seen the show before and are just watching it because Matt James is on there.
Yes.
So maybe by me and you talking through a few things, maybe some Wake Forest fans can learn a little bit about the show too, Courtney. Is that cool?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
One thing that I guess got kind of answered towards the end for me is, how long does this show last in like weeks? How long is it in real people time? And then how are contestants eliminated? Is it like, yeah, just walk me through that from what you know, Courtney.
Gosh, so I could be butchering this, so I'll try my best on the 3 seasons I've watched in the past, but I think that it's about the length of a football season if we're keeping in the sports world. So I want to say there's, somewhere between 10, 12, 14 weeks of the show. And I think that it's a shorter amount of time when they're actually on set, because I know that, at least especially this year, they all had to be quarantined, super isolated. So I can imagine that they tried to do it in a shorter period of time. But as we saw tonight, every week, Matt's going to have a bunch of roses and be able to hand them out to the ladies. And each week there will be progressively fewer and fewer. And to use a word that one of the ladies used tonight, what was it? It's going to be a pressureful situation as the show goes on. So that was a made up word from tonight, but I'll use it. So I just want to give credit. I forget who said it, but it was Victoria, maybe.
From your Bachelor watching experience, was it surprising to you at all that Victoria made the cut, or is that kind of standard fare that the more controversial person's going to make the cut?
Well, every time there has to be a seasoned villain, and kind of from the get-go, when Victoria jumps out of the limo with the queen thing going on in the throne, you have a feeling that she might be the villain. But it's funny, Sam Wexler and I were texting the whole time during the show, and she and I were both, please send Victoria home, and then
but that's everybody. Everybody thinks that. So that's why you want that person to be around, right?
Yes, because she stirs the pot. Yeah.
I mean, I have never watched The Bachelor before, but I've watched every season of Survivor. And it's the villains that kind of make the show in a way, as bad as that is. It's the guys like Russell Hantz who blows everything up and sets people's socks on fire that gets everybody watching the show. But anyway, you might have never watched Survivor.
Yeah. I haven't, no, but I can relate to what you're saying with the villain. And I can tell you that Dad and I were both kind of at the edge of our seats, that last rose that Matt was giving out. And we both kind of like, no, we were audible in our dismay.
So you did get time today watching a show with your dad, just like last night you got to watch John Wolford, win his first NFL start. You got to watch the show tonight with your dad. How was that?
Yes. Well, we're as you know, Les, Dad and I are very, very close, and so we've spent a lot of time together, particularly in the past week. But I'll speak for him and Deacon Nation when I say that we're proud of all of our former geeks. But perhaps last night, Dad and I were a little bit more in our element watching John Wolford get his first win with the Rams. So very, proud of of Matt and John, but last night was a little bit more relatable as a football coach and the daughter of a football coach.
I know back before you went to Davidson, you would religiously be running camp for Clawson. Do you have any remembrances of Matt during your time, being on the field with Matt James?
So that was 2014, and I want to say my first year out on the practice field was 2015. So I don't think that we ever, I don't think we ever overlapped, and if we did, I don't particularly have any recollections. I wish I did, but
oh, that's fair enough. I should have probably asked you that part.
14.
Yeah. Were you surprised when the girls started coming in, or actually before the girls started coming in, when he had the time with the host and he got so emotional with those questions? Did you find that exchange, is that unusual or striking in any way, Courtney?
Well, I think on the Bachelor, it can be very, very challenging to present yourself in a super positive way, just with the nature of being on a reality TV show and putting yourself in a situation where you're dating 30 plus people. But I think throughout the whole night, and particularly in that one moment, I was incredibly impressed with Matt and his how articulate he was, how he remembered, it seems that he remembered every girl's name and even what they had said to him in their, he remembered things that he spoke about with the women in their conversation that they didn't even seem to remember. And that kind of 10-minute conversation with Chris Harrison really endeared him, I think, to, at least especially to me and hopefully all of the Bachelor Nation. But I was really impressed by that little 10 minutes. I'll have to credit it to maybe he took a communications class at Wake Forest, and so I'll credit that to the Deeks.
Yeah, it seemed pretty striking. And I guess that was the other question I had is, do the contestants know, does the Bachelor know who the 32 girls will be ahead of time, or did he really just pick up on all of them that night? Do you know?
I want to say that they are forbidden, at least from any sort of contact before the show. I know there was a little controversy with that on the most recent season of The Bachelorette when Claire hit it off with Dale and they were engaged within a couple of weeks. There was some speculation that they may have had some pre-show interaction, but they claimed they didn't. Maybe they get each other's names and can look each other up on social media, but I know that they're not supposed to have any contact before the show.
But Matt may have had like names and faces.
Yeah, maybe being able to put names. He has to, right? How do you remember?
Too impressive.
That, yeah. No, it was impressive. Yeah. Otherwise, if he might be giving girls roses if he can't pick someone, I guess, if he doesn't know her name.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it would be bad to not be picked in this case, because that means you wouldn't get a rose. So yeah, you would lose because you forgot who you are. A couple people in my Twitter mentions have used a phrase, "Everybody is there for the right reasons." What does that mean? Is that a common trope in the Bachelor vernacular? Explain that to me.
Yeah. So again, I am no expert. I'm honored to be the resident more with less Bachelor expert, but certainly I would not call myself a Bachelor expert. But in my experience watching, it seems as though, believe it or not, it's very shocking, but some people come on to the show without the hope or intention of truly finding their soulmate, but rather perhaps to advance their careers, to gain a couple million Instagram followers. And so we had, I think, Hannah Brown's season a couple years ago. The guy she ended up picking revealed that after they were engaged that he had come on to advance his music career, and he actually had a girlfriend back home. And obviously those details were not shared with Hannah prior to the end. But everyone puts on the facade of, I'm here to find the love of my life, when 30, 32 to 1, probably your chance. I'm thinking about the math here. Your chances aren't that great. Maybe you're coming on to advance your social media presence or your career.
So what were your impressions of the show? What did you enjoy tonight? What didn't you enjoy that you can share with us tonight, Courtney? What were the high spots of the show?
Well, I think watching The Bachelor, what I enjoy more than the actual show is the camaraderie around the folks watching. And so, I enjoy more checking Twitter and seeing what people are saying. And like I said, I was Sam Wexler and I were texting the whole time and sharing what we thought was stupid or ridiculous or cringeworthy. I'm enjoying talking with Dad and hearing his takes on the show. So it's definitely more of a comedic relief than I'm not necessarily zoned in, dialed in the whole time, but it's just funny and listening to some of these girls. And we talked about before we started the show, but the intro clip, that wasn't the most auspicious start, to use your words, when you're watching a show with your father. But yeah, it made for some laughs tonight for sure.
So for you, it's more of a communal type approach. You're just in it to share the moment with friends and family now.
Yes.
And
family now. I don't know if now that might have been an isolated.
Right.
Tonight may have been an isolated incident, but at least for tonight, it was fun to share the moment with Dad.
That's one minor life achievement, probably, right? You got Les Johns and Dave Clawson to watch the show, The Bachelor, for one night.
Yes.
Victoria, how long do these type villains usually make a run in the show? Will she be around through most of the season? Will there be other villains that kind of take her place? How does this work with The Bachelor?
I think that it will depend on if any other villains emerge as the season progresses. It seemed as though there was some tension building between Victoria and I don't remember all of the girls, but one girl in particular. So we might get to a point where the tension has escalated to the point where one of them has to go. They can't both stay in the house. So maybe that happens. Maybe we have another
to make
villain.
A decision.
Yeah, maybe a 2-on-1 date where it's him and the two women, and they just one stays and one goes home.
It does appear from the season look ahead that there's a lot of crying and a lot of kissing to come. It looks like that everybody gets kissed and everybody's going to shed tears before the season is over. Is that fair? Is that typically what happens?
I think we can anticipate, lots of tears, lots of kissing, lots of drama. I'm looking forward to it, but we're looking at a lot of girl drama going on. So yeah, I'm curious. How would you, if your daughter came on and said, because your daughter, she's a senior at Western Carolina this year.
She's finishing her junior year at Western Carolina. You're a senior this year, right, Courtney? Yeah. So
I am,
So if my daughter wanted to be on The Bachelor,
but one girl, Kit, because one girl, Kit, she's 21, which I'm assuming your daughter is either 21 or 20, about to be 21.
Nailed it. She'll be 21 in April.
Okay, so we're approaching the age for Bachelor.
Polly would not be pleased. I mean, I think me and your dad probably are in the same boat on that one. So, I mean, I would probably try to be supportive, but I would be like, well, don't you want to do Survivor instead? That'd be a much better reality show, daughter. Not The Bachelor. So, besides, I actually do like my daughter's boyfriend right now, so I'd hate to see that disturbed. So,
okay. That would be, probably don't want to throw him under the bus by saying you'd be super excited if she signed up for The Bachelor.
Right. To me, kind of some of the highlights that I got out of it was it seemed like Matt did actually connect with a couple of the ladies, especially Abigail, obviously, who he gave the first impression rose.
Yeah.
is that something that usually ends up meaning anything, or is that just, do we forget about the first impression rose weeks from now? Is that completely meaningless?
So I'm thinking back to, I have some good college friends of mine who are diehard Bachelor watchers. And I want to say that one of my friends told me that statistically speaking, when it's the Bachelorette, the one woman with 30 men, the first impression rose, the number of times that guy has ended up as the final one is pretty significant. I don't think it's as significant with the, if we're looking at statistics, I don't think it's as significant with the Bachelor scenario. But Abigail is one of my favorites. I really liked her. She got the first rose and the first kiss, so she kind of got the first things. But did you like her? I liked her.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that she connected well and was interesting, and so there was nothing about her that turned me off, like a Victoria, for instance, and the one with the prop that we won't talk about.
yes. So that's the scene we referred to where that's not the first scene you want to watch when you're watching a show as a family. So.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think what else stuck out to me interesting from a viewer perspective. I guess just kind of seeing it all unfold for the first time was interesting. Matt's concern with being the first Black Bachelor, I thought was obviously interesting, and that he has concerns about upsetting various groups of people. That was very touching, I guess, and made you really feel for Matt in the position he's in. I don't know if that hits you the same way or not.
Yeah, no, again, we touched on this earlier, but in terms of first impressions to viewers, I don't know if Matt could have done any better. I mean, that conversation at the beginning with Chris Harrison and the acknowledgement of the position he was in and just how seriously he was taking this opportunity, but also just his forthcomingness and his empathy. And I'm biased as he's a former Deke, and I already planned on really liking him as the Bachelor, but I thought he was just incredibly well spoken and you want to like him. You want to like him even though he's on The Bachelor, but I thought he did a really good job.
He came across as relatable and real, I thought, and I hope that's the perception we continue to get through the season, because one of the things I noticed, I ran into Matt at a scholarship brunch, I believe it was, at Wake early last year. And just like he made time for all the contestants today that took the time to go see him, he took time for all the donors too that day. And he seemed to, obviously he's getting to become a household name and popular and those type of things. And that was starting to be the case even back when I saw him earlier this year. I can't say this year now, it's earlier last year.
We're fully in 2021 now.
Yeah, thank God, right? But I was really impressed with the way he dealt with everybody, all the Wake Forest folks that day. And we exchanged numbers, and I keep on meaning to do a big story on him, but haven't quite did it yet. And so and obviously he's a little busy too. So, but yeah, and Matt was always, when he was at Wake, he was one of those guys you really rooted for. He seemed like a really good guy, really affable, did the right things. I was really hoping he would finally get that touchdown that eluded him at Wake Forest. He never hit the end zone. Super good guy. So it would have been interesting to see him once the offense got rolling at Wake Forest and they were more potent and a more accurate and dangerous John Wolford with his size and strength.
I think I saw a lot of parallels. Yeah, saw a lot of parallels in what you just said to John. With just someone you root for and a really good guy. And we were also really hoping he'd get into the end zone last night.
Yeah. He did great though. So
he did. It was unbelievable.
What should we be looking for next week? Are all episodes 2 hours long, or are they usually just 1 hour?
all 2 episodes. So if you're in it for the long haul, if you're committed. So yeah, I don't know if next Monday though the college football national championship.
Oh, is that important?
If I'm picking between the Bachelor and the CFP, I'm gonna have to go with the CFP. Yeah.
Is someone about to make a cameo?
Yeah. Good night.
Was that Dad?
That was Dad. I was Dad saying good night. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll let you go here in a moment anyway. So every episode is 2 hours long. And if it is at the same time as the college football playoff, then me and you will have to connect next Tuesday, I guess.
Yes. Well, yes, because we're on Hulu the next day, we'll show The Bachelor, but I think I speak for both of us when I say that at 8 o'clock on Monday night, if we have the choice between watching The Bachelor or Ohio State and Alabama, we're picking the football game.
And who's your pick to win the football game?
Oh gosh, I in my kind of original bracket that I did with a friend, I did Alabama, but Ohio State looks really good on over the weekend. So I'm excited. Hopefully it's a good game.
Ohio State looks so terrible in the Big Ten championship, and then they look so good against Clemson. It didn't even look like the same team, so it was remarkable.
It'd be interesting to see how Justin Fields plays, because I know that he had a big hit on the game against Clemson, but oh my gosh, he played unbelievable. So I'm just excited for hopefully a good football game.
Yeah, I agree. What else do I need to ask you about The Bachelor? What am I leaving out, Courtney?
I took a few notes. I did take a few notes. Let me see. Touched on most of this, I think. Pressureful was one of the notes I made. I don't think we're adding that to the dictionary anytime soon, but it was funny.
Not unless that contestant made it through and then continues to use that word, then maybe it will be added. Yeah.
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 No, I think this is a good summation. Again, I'm not a kind of diehard Bachelor watcher, but I do find it to be an entertaining reality TV show. So I hope you continue to enjoy it as the season goes on.
Well, Courtney, you know infinitely more about The Bachelor than I do. So your expertise was much appreciated. Thank you for joining me tonight. We'll get this uploaded to Deacon Nation here in the next few minutes. And thanks for your time. And tell your father everybody says hello and wishes him the best in finishing up the 2021 recruiting class in the next few weeks.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you for having me on. This was a lot of fun. So we'll touch base next week.